Hi all, good evening. Please confirm you can hear me and you can see my screen. Yes. All right, yeah, thank you, Adekunle, thank you. So we're going to get started. Basically, this is our first test facilitator for the class. We usually have like facilitator every week till the end of the program. So, join me to welcome Fortune. Uh, so basically, in sessions like this, I'm basically a learner like everybody else. So I'm just going to be part of the crowd, engage. I mean, I won't be more engaging, but I'm just here to learn as everybody else in this kind of sessions because, yeah, the facilitators are always on point. Yeah, so we're going to do from here. Fortune, I mean, some of you probably know Fortune is I don't even know how to put it, but he's a very, I mean, a good friend of mine actually, from what we know each other. But he's a very solid brand strategy person that I've known. And one key quality that I like about him as a strategist is the quality of thinking that he gets when it comes to fortune. So that is even why I wanted him to be the person to take this class, and also wanted to be part of somebody that learns from this class because I mean I know what he does and what he can do, and things he has helped people do in terms of thinking clarity, bringing things to life. He's worked with like Money Points, all of these fintech brands that you see. They literally are the academic research out with these guys. So FourthCanvas, they're doing great work and he's doing good job with them. So join me to welcome Fortune to the stage as he takes us through thinking like a strategist, the lateral and lateral thinking.
Good evening, guys. Can you hear me? Please just do an emoji just so
Yeah,
I
we
can.
can.
Awesome, awesome. Um, all right. Good morning. I'll say good morning. Sorry, it's been a long day. Good evening, guys. Fortune Kolawole. I'm a strategist like you all are, and I'm excited to be taking this session. So I want to appreciate um, Jamal for coordinating this amazing experience. I also want to appreciate you all for attending this class, and I hope that at the end you would love what you have learned. All right, so I will just share my screen. Let me know if you can't see. I can see it already, so I think you guys can. Okay, nice, nice, nice. All right, so I will be taking um, literal and lateral thinking. Um, Strategy Hour 2025. All right, so welcome to this class. At the end of the class, you'll be able to ask me questions. I would ensure that we have enough time to take questions um, on the subject matter that we'll be discussing. I think I would like to have my video on. All right, good. Okay, all right. So, lateral thinking, that's what I'll be talking about, like I said earlier. And from here, I want to clearly establish that the best way to learn to think is to engage with thinking. Um, if someone says, "I want to teach you to think," so as a human being, like you're fundamentally always thinking. There are a million decisions and thoughts that are passing through your mind at every instant. You are thinking about as you're on this call. Um, even though you are paying attention to what I'm saying right now, and you're looking at me, looking at the screen right now, your mind is going in different directions. There's so many things that are pulling at you. Oh, in your environment, there are impulses and stimuli that you are responding to, right? If you feel a bit of heat, you can just take your hanky and wipe your face, and it's these are thoughts, that some of them very subliminal and subconscious. That's why you can't pull the thread of those thoughts. But at every point in time, your mind is always trying to process through thoughts. So that means if you are going to learn to think to think in a particular way, which is what we want to do here, I want to be examining here. You have to examine that type of thinking. You have to engage with it. You have to engage with that type of thinking. Um, Here. is my video when I was trying to watch how to make custard. So, like, I have to bail myself out a bit. When I was in uni, I used to make custard very well, right? And suddenly, I didn't know that you could lose that skill, right? If you can see that the video is actually watched. The first custard I made when I watched this video, my God, like it was water, right? It was not different from tea, so I had to use, like, I could easily have, use bread to scoop it and eat it, right? Because I didn't get it right. Because you can't learn how to make custard just by watching a video, right? It doesn't work like that. You have to be in the process. You have to get the custard, boil the water, and put the custard inside the cup and turn it. You have to experience yourself. You have to feel when you are pouring the hot water into the already existing custard mix that you already made inside water. You need to feel that change, that transformation, the time that the custard begins to set. Like when you see that color change, you have to experience it. You can't see it in the video. Like you can't know what that time is. You can't know what quantity of water exactly will make that happen. So that's to tell you that in life, as we're thinking, you need to be in the weeds. You have to experience what we are talking about before you can really register it in your mind. All right. And um in terms of thinking, one of the things about thinking and mental models is that they are like a badge on your mind. Once you see, it becomes difficult to unsee. Right? When I was growing up, and as I'm sure that a lot of you also did, I used to enjoy watching wrestling. So, like, Shawn Michael, John Cena, CM Punk, Randy Orton, all those guys, right? This is The Rock. Sorry. And John Cena here, right? These are guys that we're all familiar with. And you know, when you get a bit older, probably in your late teens, and you start to understand that, oh, wrestling is like movies, right? They act it and all sort of things. They are scripts, the stunts are not 100%, stuff like that. From that instant, every time you watch wrestling, the thing has been demystified to you, so you can't enjoy it, you can't experience it the same way. I wrote something a couple of weeks back that I I was walking through a problem set, and I was trying to solve some questions, and then I mistakenly, so it was a past question that had answers in it. I saw the answer to one of the questions. I think question 20. I saw the answer. The answer was A, right? I tried shaking my head like this. I shook my head, shook my head, shook my head. I did like this. I sang. I now started singing A B C D A B C D A B C. I did all sort of things, right, to distract myself, into forgetting what I had learned, but it could not leave my head. Even when I just had to just, dump the question and go to another one, because the mind is very, very funny in the way that it registers knowledge. All right. Of course, you forget. It's not like you can't forget things that you've known, but when you see something and you are exposed to a line of thinking, it's very difficult for you to stop seeing the world through that lens. Right. If, for example, there are so many examples of this all over. I'm sure you can already start thinking about things where you used to think of them as a big deal. Maybe, for example, the stunts in movies, even movies. I feel like, probably you thought that Captain Rogers, that was in Captain America, right? That the guy in real life, Chris Evans, was a good stuntman. I can do all those backflips and all those things. And you discover that Baba, maybe you can't even do front, can't even do a handstand, and you feel like, what's the point? But once you see, it becomes difficult to unsee. And that's the thing with mental models. And I'm very sure that at the end of this class, because of your experience with lateral thinking, you would begin to see the world in that lens, right? Um, Except if you are brainwashed, of course. Like, there are people that, you can show them that maybe, I don't want to use religious examples, but let's say this person is a fraud. Let's say CBX, at least you can talk about that one. Oh, CBX is a fraud. It's a multi-level marketing, the network marketing thing. It's like MIM. It's like this. It's like what's the name of this guy? I've forgotten his name. It starts with R. Can't remember. It's like this guy is like this, like this. Except if you are brainwashed, right? You would understand that these things are fake, right? Do you get what I'm saying? So of course, but hopefully there is no brainwash strategist here. Of course, that's like one of the fundamental um, requirements to be a strategist. You must be how would I put it? You must be in, invincible, right, to brainwashing. Like brainwashing cannot affect you. You must be impermeable to it. And then that means if you have discovered lateral thinking. Now that you have heard the word, you're not a lateral thinker. Okay, now that you have seen that there's such a thing, and I'm sure at the end of this call, you can award yourself. You can give yourself a prize that, okay, now that I know lateral thinking, I have become one. I can think and speak and interact with the world like lateral thinkers do. So congratulations. Let me go back to the call. I want you guys to do throw emoji of congratulations. That emoji, I want to see it first before I move on to the next. The next, good, good. I can see Joshua. Yes, good, good, good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Um, so the next is, so let's attempt to define terms, right? You know, so when we say literal thinking, which is or linear thinking, it's something we are all very familiar with. Is the interpretation of language, or when somebody says something based solely on the explicit dictionary definition of words and phrases without considering implied meanings or context. Normally, if when it's just like in Nigeria, if you were speaking with a friend, I just said, I'm trying to think of something. I don't, the first thing that came to my mind was an insult. But I'm thinking of something that's not an insult. Let's say, make we okay, they don't serve and breakfast. Good, that's a good one. Like Nigerian lingua, right? They don't serve and breakfast. Oh, they've served you breakfast. Like if you say that, right, and you interpret the linear way to interpret it is that somebody, like, okay, we're in the morning time, someone brought food to you to eat this morning. So that is what breakfast, or you just completed the fast and then they brought you, but I don't even think anybody thinks of that first. It's like, okay, somebody has gotten breakfast. But because you are a Nigerian, and probably because of established relationship between you and someone, if someone says they don't have a breakfast, right, you will start thinking, I don't know, say, you can ask, like, I didn't know you're in a relationship, or that type of question, because um you are interpreting the sentence, right, breakfast, in line in the context of other implied or figurative expression. So that's to say that linear thinking is to interpret it just clearly as it is. They have served him breakfast. This is a car. It is a car. That kind of thing. So you are not thinking that maybe there is something else that the person is trying to say. You are not thinking it's an idiom or all that. But I won't be doing much of that in this class, of course, because you're already familiar with it. I can't teach you to be. Your brain naturally works like that. But I will even go further to establish that our brain functions in both of these domains, but we are mostly aware of one, which is the linear mode of thinking, interpreting things normally, the way they are. But lateral thinking, which is the meat of today's discourse, is the solving of problems by an indirect and creative approach, especially by viewing the problem in a new and unusual light. That means you are seeing this thing in a way that no other person sees it, right? It's that we are trying to solve a problem, and we need to, you are approaching it like, so you can look at a problem directly, right? 90 at maybe 180 degrees. You can look at it like that, like this. But if you change your perspective and you're looking at it from the back, right? You are flipping the dimension of where you're seeing. I hope you can see my hand trying to, this is the problem. And let's say the ring is the problem, and you can look at it like this, which is, maybe 180 degree. You can look at it from the top. You can look at it like this and like this. Now, every other direction that you're looking at it from that is not this exact one, right, is what we are referring to as lateral thinking. But we'll get into more concrete examples shortly. Now, the fundamental mind unlock that makes you recognize lateral thinking and empowers you to take advantage of it is actually to know that there is no one way to enter the market, right? In Yoruba, they will say "Onokon Owoja," right? If you look at this market that I use as an example here, you can literally drop into the market with, let's say, a jetpack, or with a parachute, and drop into the market. That's a way. You can enter through the side. You can climb the buildings and jump inside. You can enter on the just through the roads. You can enter through the back. And I'm sure if you have been to any market, you always know, right? Especially the major markets, like not the ones in your school, even the one, maybe not the. I'm talking about all those small markets inside your school, or maybe Mami markets in NYC camp. We're referring to actual markets, right? Maybe Ojaoba, if you're familiar with it, Balogun market. There is not usually one way that enters that market. There are a lot of ways to enter. You can enter from the side. You can enter, an helicopter can drop you right in the center. Different ways to enter the market, right? And if you understand this if you approach problems and marketing, whatever it is, with this concept of the fact that there are many ways to enter a market, and you see things normally like that, you are going to unlock the aspect of your brain that seeks to find those other alternative routes into the market. Let me give you some time to process that. I know I talk very fast, so let me cool off a bit so you can try and process it. Now, when you tell yourself that there is no singular solution to a problem, right? You allow yourself think more about how to solve it. Now, if you it's how you know there are friends you have where you know that if you share any idea with them, they will always come up with a very alternative, weird, wild way to look at it. Like you're like, why are you even like? How do you even think of this? When if you have anyone that anytime you bring something to them, their response makes you respond like, why do you even think of it like this? Right? That's because their mind is keyed into that principle that there is no one way to approach a problem. There is no one answer to any problem, right? In the next slide, you see that I call this multiplicity of answers, right? There's always something you are not seeing, right? Victor Fatomi, founder at FourthCanvas, wrote a short on the title of the short was "Same Why Different What," right? There can be people that were um, like let's say the children of a nuclear family, okay, a child in a nuclear family who were attacked, right, in an accident in by armed robbers on a highway, right, and then the two parents died, then only the child survived. Now, you know that those two children can grow up and walk in entirely opposite career path. So, for example, one can be an armed robber and say that this is how my parents died, so I'm going to inflict the same pain on the world. Another can grow up and say I want to be a policeman or an ambulance, whatever, because I don't want what happened to me to happen to any other person in the world again. Are you getting me? So it's that we can have the same why, the same reason can birth different outcomes in people. People can do different things for the same reason. Like someone, someone can attack a person, right? Because they are trying to, um, protect their family, and then someone can beg someone, beg an attacker, because they are trying to protect their family. It's the same reason, but we are doing different things with it. And the same reason why people can have the same premises that they said, argument one, this, argument two, this, and they conclude on a different thing. Like they have the same premises, but they are landing on different conclusions. And also, people can be exposed to the same information. It's just like in class, right? People are coming to the same class. You can, if you have twins, right, you can, which is something that they've experimented a lot. You can expose twins to the same um, situation, the same scenarios, and all of that. And the two people that will come out, right, from that exposure to the same stimulus or whatever are going to be different people. Different people, like they just have different music tastes. They have, because as humans, we we are naturally we are natural agents of multiplicity. We think of life, our response to life is very vast. Like we can have 1,000 answers to the same questions. That's how human beings are. It's very, very amazing. Like it's something that makes human beings very different from every other animal. The fact that you can have the same set of arguments, and the conclusion that someone will make, like it's just like on Twitter, somebody will post like a long essay, whatever it is, and people will read the essay, analyze it, like this is what this person is saying, this that, like I got what you are saying clearly, and then they will interpret it differently. They will tell you that, okay, from this now, and you say that's not what I meant. Now, because humans are like that, like it's just about humans. And that's to tell you that lateral thinking is more common, and more will I say it's more common, right? And more naturally occurring than we even think. It's not a new thing in that sense. It's just something that we don't recognize and try to harness as much as possible, right? And like I said, like man has a very insane way to answer the same questions. Look at the fact that this slide, look at this slide. It says inside is one of man's greatest invention. If you think about it, one of the greatest inventions that man amongst other animals has is actually inside. Like inside, like the fact that I'm inside now is an invention of mankind. The fact that animals can live inside somewhere, right, is an invention of mankind. Look at the slide, the image on the right, right? You can see giraffes in the wild, like lions, elephants, all of them. Like they live in the wild. Like, they just live in the wild. They've never, of course, there are birds that create nests and all of that. Besides, like, even though they create nests, they spend most of their time outside, right? Humans live the bulk of their lives inside because we sleep maybe 8 hours inside. We walk, maybe another 8 hours inside. So like about 80% of our lives are lived inside, which is totally different from every other kind of animal, including birds that have nests. Because humans don't respond to life in the same way that every other animal do. We are natural non-conformists. Like, and that's why, think about the fact that we need to go to school and people need to be in a maybe graduate training program to learn how to be the same, in a job or in a role. Like, it's like, as at the time where maybe education was even established like in the way it is now, which was due to um, Ford manufacturing plant and all of that. They wanted to create uh, staff that were alike, that were very similar, that can follow, respond to instructions. Okay, can you unmute? Who's that? Okay, good. Now, think about the fact that um, we had to put people in school so that they can be aligned to every instruction that we give. That's the way that humans are naturally like. So what school essentially does is to try to curb the amount of um non-conformist energy that we have, if I will say that, right? It tries to limit the wildness and just that thing about man that is always, I mean, humanity generally, like man and woman, not yeah, is that he's trying to tame that will, that thing that just wants us to spread, wants to approach life differently. So imagine that you are outside, you experience rain, right? Rain, hail, sunshine, winter, autumn, fall, everything. And then your response as a giraffe is that, Omo, no Allah. Your evolutionary response is that, okay, we'll have thicker skin layers, and they will keep absorbing the cold, absorbing everything. Man say, no, I'm not going to develop thicker skin layer, all of that to be able to survive inside ice and all of that. Okay, no, I'm going to build, move the world, my world inside. So now our food is not out in the wild, our food is inside. Even though we have farms, I mean, the farms, whatever it is, like we bring the food inside. We always get the food from inside to eat. We get the food from inside. We don't just go outside and just go and pluck mangoes. Of course, some people do, but I mean that's not like your regular way of life. If you are, please, I don't know. Apologies for disturbing your ecosystem. Apologies, so please don't come and attack me. But really, we even domesticated animals, right? We brought cats, dogs, goats, sheep, pigs, and hens. We created, pens and all of that for them. We domesticated them, we brought them inside. So that in itself is to tell you that, man, we are actually lateral thinkers if we allow ourselves to be, right? And every other thing is attempting to force us not to be lateral thinkers. And in advertising and marketing. So, like I said, you see that in this class, what I've been doing is just trying to show you, just make it more obvious to you. They might not be there. You see some maybe some how to's, but it's more of exposure. I want to expose you to it because the more exposed you are to this thing, the more you begin to recognize patterns of such in your life, and you can even take advantage of it. Look at, for example, these are examples of advertising problems that were solved with lateral thinking, right? The first one is Steve Jobs. I would walk you through all of these ads one after the other. This ad by Apple and Steve Jobs and their agency. Then I can't the name. Okay, I think it's Chiat. Yes, Chiat. That's good of me. Good of me. Good of me. Chiat. That was, I think, Ken Seagal and a couple of other people were there. Now they worked on this ad. Look at the ad on the left. They created, it was for the iPod, right? They could have said, you know 256 megabytes. So it was a device. This was what it was before they branded it and everything. It was a device that can contain, you know songs up to 256 megabytes, and that's a lot of songs, right? That's a lot of songs. Maybe a song is like, how many kilobytes, 800 kilobytes, 700 kilobytes. In all those days of Niger loaded, it was even before those days. So I'm sure the file size will have been small, because 256 megabytes was a major breakthrough then. It's like, 256 megabytes inside a small device. Big computers, like very big laptops, were like big mainframe computers, were running on um you know on like 2 gig. Like 2 gig is the entire storage of a big computer. So imagine hacking a way to find to put 256 megabytes of storage in a small device. So it was a breakthrough technologically. Now, when you have a technological breakthrough, what's the linear way to think about it, right? The linear way to think about it is that, oh, we've hacked sound, we've hacked storage. Now we can compress what a big computer can do into a small computer that is in your hands, right? Straightforward. That's the linear way to solve the problem. You can just say 256 megabytes of storage in your hands. Straightforward. But what did they do? They flipped the question on its head. They changed the perspective. All right. They changed the perspective, which is what lateral thinking is. A change of perspective. Like I said, they didn't look at it like this, right? They didn't look at it like this. They looked at it from somewhere else. What does 256 megabytes of storage mean, right? They changed the frame of reference from technological innovation to musical experiences, which is 1,000 songs in your pocket. Like, think about it. Like, from where? How did you? Why is it in my pocket, right? Why are you thinking about my pocket? Why are you, like, is that they're thinking about the fact that, okay, this is a pocket device. One, they think about the fact that this is, instead of 256 megabytes of storage, what does the customer value, right? Is the variety of songs that they can have. So they flip the perspective from looking at it from a technological breakthrough, which they could have framed it as, into a what? A an aesthetic, a personal, a musical breakthrough, that, oh, you can now have 1,000 songs in your pocket. That was a an a demonstration of lateral thinking. They flip the perspective with which you're looking at it. And what did it result in? 73.7% of market share. Now that's insane. Like, that's like over two-thirds of the market, way over two-thirds of the market. Right? That's the first example. The next example is Coca-Cola. I think in the 80s, right? The chairman, his name was maybe Goezuta or something like that, right? He, they had been doing Coca-Cola versus Pepsi for years, until he came on board. You know what? His question was very simple. His question was that, because Coca-Cola was actually still leading Pepsi, but it was still a close competition, maybe 60-40, market share. It was still within reach, for Pepsi. And so they had to invest a lot in ads, in everything. They were just pushing the limit. But he asked a simple question in the board meeting. He said, what is the greatest drink? What drink is the most consumed by Americans? Now, look at that change of frame. If you were looking at it as we are competing against beverages, it's a very different question, because now we can compete with maybe Bonvita and all of that, or the Coco, Choco Milo, whatever guys, right? Or Pepsi and other, maybe Dr. Pepper and other American beverages like that, or global beverages like that. He asked the question of what is the most consumed drink in the US, and people said water. Okay, good. So if water is the most consumed drink in the US, why are we fighting against Pepsi? Our goal should be to fight against water. So the goal of Coca-Cola, which is what they are trying to do, is to make sure that that meant Coca-Cola cannot position as the best beverage you can get. They could not position as a beverage brand again, like as just a beverage brand. If you care what I'm saying, like they will not say, "Oh, this is sweeter, this tastes better." All those, which are the things that a linear person will have seen. Like, "Oh, it tastes better now. It's thicker. The color is kiniko, and the sugar content is this. 70% sugar. It has calories. It can energize you. All the different arguments that you and copy that you could come up with in the direction of a beverage was that this Coca-Cola is to bring you moments of happiness, inspiring moments of happiness every day, right? Which means if you drink water, you will be filled, but you will not be happy. But if you drink Coca-Cola, you'll be happy. So look at that. Look at that change of frame, right? Let me quickly see what's happening in the chat, in the call, so I can know that people are still here. Please do an emoji so I can know that okay. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Look at that frame. As they change the frame to water, everything followed suit. So we can now say, okay, Coca-Cola in inspiring moments of happiness every day. That means that if Coca-Cola was to do a campaign, if you brought a campaign and the campaign was going to position them as probably the most healthy, blah blah blah, whatever. Of course, they will still do all of that, but like the most healthy beverage brand, best beverage brand, they don't care about that. But if we said, oh, we can do a campaign where we can inspire moments of happiness in maybe Indonesia, in some people that are working in mines in Asia, somewhere there that they can't reach their family, all those campaigns like Share a Coke, all those things happened because the focus changed to what a more lateral approach, which was that let's think of something that is not in our vicinity, is not a natural competitor to us normally. We don't think about it. Nobody thinks about water as a serious competitor because they're like, water is water. So let's we now have the rest of the market share. And now water is what they compete against. So now Pepsi and Coca-Cola, like there's no point even, you know, it's not the same. And that's to tell you that lateral thinking, unlocks outsized um results for you. Just like look at this 73.7% of market share. Just 14% market share in that market, it was enough like to settle Apple, right? But now 72.7 of that market of the market share now is something else. Like it's like getting 5x of life-changing money. Like how much is your life? How much money will change your life right now? Somebody say, just give me $14 million. Like my life will change. Blah, blah. And someone just gives you 5x of that. Like your life will overchange. I don't. There's no English word to describe what will happen, but that's what just happened here. And the same thing with Coca-Cola. They just went out of because now people think they are thinking refreshing. They are thinking I want to drink water. Water will fill me. But if I want to be refreshed and happy, Coca-Cola, right? Coca-Cola, and you see it's like so change lateral thinking. It breaks walls. It breaks walls that bound us in probably marketing or whatever you call it. If you look at this is Volkswagen. This was one of their vehicles then when they were doing the B2 cars, right? um there were so many. If you give a regular marketer or something this car, tell him to sell it, write copy for this car. There are so many things the person will have come up with. So many, like, oh, it's the smallest car, it's for you and your babe. You only need, every car only, everybody needs to have one of these. There's so many, my head is a bit fried. So, but there are so many ways you could have said it like that. Oh, it's a nice car. But imagine that somebody is saying that, or you can even say, oh, this is the best car for students. Still a bit lateral, but still more linear. um Thinking that let's just change the frame. So rather than look at this car, look at maybe the technical breakthroughs there, like the fact that we're able to compress a, let's say, V6 engine into a small vehicle like this. This vehicle runs, the fuel consumption is very minimal, budget friendly, blah blah blah. So many arguments, copy and arguments you could have made, right? If you are the creative director on the project. But the fact that someone said, okay, let's change the frame, right? What can we say about this car that nobody could ever say? Which is very important. Look at it, right? Thinking of things that what will we do that people will think we are stupid? That's a way, that's a prompt for lateral thinking. What can I possibly say or do about this thing that will make people think I'm stupid, whereas I'm not, right? If you see this, like, what are you saying? But it's, well, of course, it was a hit. Like, it was a hit ad. It makes your house look bigger. Means that this car, right? It is smaller compared to your house, and it makes you want to go home. It just gives you many plot lines to fill in your head that, oh, this car makes my house look big, nice, nice. Like, there's no point having a car that is as big as my house if I'm not living inside the car now. Yeah, all of that. Like, you will start making stories that even they did not even think about. Right? That's lateral thinking in display. Same thing with this ad by KFC. It happened when they did not have chicken. They ran out of chicken, and then they did an ad, like, and the thing just went viral. All of that, like, oh no, no, I don't want to use the effort. That's why I'm running away for. You can see it yourself. So I won't explain much of that. So, lateral thinking is about changing the frame with which you are examining something. Is that a question or something? Yeah, it's register. Okay, nice. Yeah, I can see. I can see. Okay, I'm checking the chats now. I'm seeing. Okay, good, good. Please, you can drop stuff in the chat also. I'm reading. Um, yeah. So to register in your mind, like KFC, that ad, like, top of mind awareness straight. Pa KFC, because now, like, people are thinking that these guys don't even think about, they can do self-deprecating humor. Are you getting me? Like, what can we say rather than writing an apology letter and say, they can just write an apology letter like, oh, all our stores have this, but they said, they took the apology letter further, and like they spoke against themselves, like, shame on us for betraying you. And you see it, the last lateral thinking. You have to not just think out of the box, break the box, and think from there. These are lateral thinkers that I like to I follow and listen to. Rory Sutherland. Okay, yes, there's one more ad. Yeah. This is nice. This is Rory Sutherland's work, right? Now, this exact graphic is not Rory Sutherland per se, but this is an idea that he has thought about, he has been speaking about for a long time. But one of the fact that um, when we if in the UK, right, train is like probably, I don't know, top two or top three, top two actually, like transportation means in the UK. It's a very big deal. Like the UK runs on train network, and people always complain about the train network. They're complaining that it's slow, it's this, it's that, it's unbearable, it's terrifying, it's sad, it's deplorable, all the big English words, right? And the immediate response that everybody has, like from leaders and all of that, is to either construct more trains, build more trains, or of course, which is not even feasible alone because of the interconnectedness of the network already. There is very big, vast network, so it's not really, there's not so much you can do in that aspect of maybe constructing more railway tracks. It's more they were thinking to have engineering breakthroughs in the area of train transportation. That's for speed. That okay, let's have faster trains. Can we have bullet trains? Can we have trains that are moving at insane? I don't know, maybe close to the speed of sound, 334 kilometers per hour, and all of that. Right? Um, he proposed a different alternative. He said that really the problem that people have now, this is lateral thinking, which is an example of, is that if the reasons why people complain about train transport is that the process, if I will say the process, is not enjoyable for them. So is that when you're on a train and everywhere is hot, the smell is crazy, the light is extremely bright, like it has some insane light, and the spaces are tight. You don't have a desk to rest your hand on or everything. You have to stand, maybe you have to sit like this, hands akimbo, you have to hang, and it's like the experience is very stressful and painful. He said if when you are in a train like that, everything, every second, feels like a minute to you. Every minute feels like an hour. It's like, I need to get out of this train. God, like you are sweating, you are wiping your face, wiping your nose. When you're in that kind of situation, like you hate life in general, right? And why is that? It's because of your experience of the plane, of the train, rather. And he suggested that what if you change the experience of the train? Like, for example, if you look at this graphic, this design, there is more room for people to put their leg. The lights are better. The smell inside the train is well conditioned. Like there's full air condition that is well regulated. All sorts of things like that. Maybe the hangars are like if they did internal design changes to the train network, right? A lot of people will actually okay. That's the end of the call. Is that okay? 15 minutes. Okay, good. Well, I'll try to run through. If you do improve the experience of train transportation, people will enjoy it more. It's the same way he proposed that he made it obvious that that normally if you which I have experienced this personally, if you have used probably Bolt, InDrive, or Uber, all of that, if you see a timeline on Uber or Bolt and it says 10 minutes or 15 minutes away, there's a kind of confidence you have. If you have ever paid attention to it, the timeline is always more than that. Like every 15 minutes, the car is almost here in 15 minutes, is like 20 minutes most of the time. Like it always overshoots that time. And that certainty, the fact that there's an anchor point, there's a time anchor point in your mind to think about that, in 15 minutes the car will be here, right? It settles you rather than the car is coming, it's just coming, I'm coming, I'm on the way, and there's no reference, you can't check anywhere for time, all of that. That's to tell you that that's a lateral way of looking at the problem rather than say, we need to make our cars faster. Why not add a design that tells people that also when you look at that, the biggest hack is actually that map that shows where the car is and where the car is right now and how far they are from you. That in itself is a mental unlock because the fact that I can see the car, even if it takes 1 hour, okay, no, 1 hour is too far. Like, of course, you start feeling it. But let's say even if it takes 30 minutes and the app is showing 15 minutes, you might not feel it. Like, you will not feel. We don't respond to time like that. We can't feel a second. Like, you don't know what a second. You can't grasp a minute in your head. I say 1 minute. Except maybe you're counting 1, 2, 3. You even lose track somewhere along the line. So we actually don't even have a very good perception of time, like as humans. But if you change the frame of the fact that we could make the cars faster, all sort of things like that. Let's do something totally different from making the cars faster. Let's change the experience that people have, right, in using the vehicle. Lateral thinking, and that has solved a very big problem in the transportation business, which is one of Uber's major insights that have unlocked their business. Uber is a profitable business, and InDrive and Bolt, all of that. We know how much they've helped to ease mobility. So these are just examples of lateral thinking. I'm doing I'm exposing you, just so that you can see that okay, this thing is actually exists in our world and it's something I engage with on a daily basis. Now, these are lateral thinkers I like to follow. Quickly, Rory Sutherland, that's the chairman of Ogilvy UK. If you can check any of his YouTube videos, he's very popular on YouTube now. If you check his name, you'll see shorts, videos, all of that. Mark Pollard is a senior strategist and is the host of Sweathead podcast, which I really like listening to. Lulu Cheng Mesave, right? That's her name, Lulu Cheng. She was at, I think, Activision, the chief communication officer, and a couple of other big organizations like that. She's on Twitter. You can check Lulu Cheng on Twitter. She's very brilliant. She's deeply into. So the few people on the first three people are actually deep marketing and advertising and communications professionals. So they are. Peter Thiel, on the other hand, which I respect a lot, if you probably follow me, must have seen, is of course the founder of PayPal, like was co-founder at PayPal, Palantir Technologies, and he's like a crazy guy. He always likes to flip questions on their head and all of that. Then Balaji Srinivasan, that's the last person, is the former CTO at Coinbase, sold, built Conseil. These guys are on Twitter. Balaji S. Peter is not really active on Twitter. Lu Cheng, Rory Solan is active. Mark Pollard is also very active on Twitter. So you can check them out on Twitter or YouTube. You can write down their names. These are people I really like. For the other two people are more technology and societal, the lateral thinking in more context, like in hiring, in how do I build a company, in fundraising, all of that. Like how do I judge the company to invest in? How do I build a startup? Things like that. Like these other two guys on the end of the graphic are your examples for that. Then, all right. So this is the final part of today's class, which I want us to practice. So you see that even though I didn't give you step by step by step by step by step, I want to give you an exercise right now. We have I want to give you 4 minutes to do this exercise. So I want you to pick an uncommon object. You can think of anything, right? This is an example here, paper clip. You can use a paper clip to stand your phone. You can use it to pick a lock. You can use it to remove your SIM card from your phone. You can use it to sculpt something. You can like use it to shade, sculpt something inside the table if it's a wooden table. You can use it as a bookmark in the middle of a book. So pick five. So I'm going to the chat right now. I want you guys to pick a a common object, an object that everybody uses, and give five unconventional uses, like things that they are used for outside their original purpose. Your time starts now. As a strategist, you need to be thinking on your feet. You're going to be bombarded like this in an interview or anything. So let's go. In 4 minutes actually. So till 7:53, I'll be checking answers in the chat. Let's go now. All right. So yeah, send it in the chat. Let me see your response. So add the item and the uses. Oh, you have to add the uses. I'm seeing items already, but I need the uses to be added to it. So add the uses to it. Okay, good, 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 good. Just you can do as many as you like. It's just a mental exercise. Oh, Jamal. Okay, Jamal, please quickly go.
To note that we can actually do like a just speak is each person speak because it's going to be posted as a public something so that that
Okay.
contribution makes the class more engaging.
Okay, good, good, good. All right. All right, guys, you can unmute and just one after the other. You just mention the item, then what it can be used for. Yeah, let's go. That is not the original intent. I think Omolara should go first. She has a lot here. So Omolara, please unmute and quickly say that. You are smiling. Please let's have that. Let's have that
All
now.
right. Hi, good evening.
Hi, good.
So I chose a pen. So I
Okay.
said you can use a pen for writing. You can use a
Mm,
pen to clean your ear. You
mm.
can chew the end of your pen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you're bored. You can use it to draw. You can also
Mhm.
use your pen to like remove dirt from your nails.
Nice, nice. A round of applause, guys. Let's clap for her. Use the emoji to clap. To be okay. Peace. Go, please. Guys, please be applauding them. Oh, applauding them. So please.
So, sorry, we have the umbrella. You can use
Okay.
it to cover yourself during the rain. You can use it as a walking stick. You can
Mhm.
use it to fight. You can use it as a weapon.
Kingsman.
You can use it to stop your door from closing.
Nice, nice. Brilliant, brilliant. Yes, these are strategies in the building. All right. Alima, quickly go next.
Okay, so I have a bag strap. So you
Okay.
can use it as a camera strap, like how cameramen use it for their
Yeah.
Yes, so you can use it as a belt.
Mm.
You can use it as support for like handle. Say you are in a
Mm.
bus or something, you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
use it
yeah.
as support, and then you can also use it for like when you want to hang items, right? So you can if you have nail or something, you can just hang both ends on
Mm.
a nail, and then hang your stuff on it.
Nice, nice.
And people that do DIY too, they use it for different stuff too.
Awesome, awesome. Samantha. Yeah. Has Samantha spoken? Okay, okay, good. Okay, Toby. Yeah, Toby. Let's quickly go.
Okay, hi, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Capison straw, not the paper one, the one
Okay,
with the old one, right? You
okay.
can use it to drink, right?
Mm.
You can also use it to pick your teeth, right? You can use it to chew when you're brainstorming or when your brain is not thinking anymore,
Sharp, sharp.
right? And you can also use it just while away time.
Nice,
You get.
nice, nice. Well done, well done. There are we last person because of time. Please.
All
Yeah.
right, hey everyone.
Uh,
So scarf, you can use the scarf to like style your shirt like as a lady. You can
mm,
still use the scarf for your hair, obviously. Then
mm,
another thing I noticed you can use the scarf is to style your bag. So I noticed people use it nowadays in
mm,
their bags. I don't know why.
mm.
That's all came
You can
to my
even use
head.
it like as a neck piece, like as a necktie,
Yeah,
or something. Yeah,
yeah.
nice, nice. Yeah, like your brains are already in the zone. Nice, nice. Right. So that's just an exercise, and I have a couple more exercises here. It's because of time. I'm trying to run. So the first one is something that I ask a lot. Right. He has different versions of the question. The question is, what important truth do very few people agree with you on? Like, what's one thing you believe that if you say it, very few people will agree with you, and it doesn't have to be something. Okay, it can't be a religious answer that I believe in God. Not something like that. It has to be something more. Maybe you believe that humans can go to Mars like Elon Musk did, right? And nobody there with Mars. Baba, we can't go anywhere. Jare, all of, maybe Mars is habitable. That's a truth to him that very people agree with, people agree with him on. So is that you have to constantly be checking your belief system and be asking yourself questions like this, like, what do we believe in this company? Let's say this is a company, we want to formulate our company culture. What do we believe in this company that no other person can copy, right? That's what we are talking about. Inversion by Charlie Munger. I'll quickly narrate the story. He was working. I'm sorry, I'm running time again. Hopefully, probably when you watch the recording, you'll be able to catch me. Uh, Inversion by Charlie Munger. So the case story described was that it was working in like probably like at an airstrip. So what he was doing was that he was helping pilots, uh, fly well, all of that. And he got to a point in his job where it felt like there was nothing he could do that was new. Like he couldn't do anything new again. Like he was stuck on what ideas, how can I make things better here? So what did he do? He flipped the question on the other end. What do we say about lateral thinking? Don't look at it like this. Look at it from the back. Right? He's looking at that's inversion. You're looking at the question from the back. He said, rather than thinking about what can I do to make these pilots' lives better, right? He said, "What? How can I kill them?" Now, when he said, "How can I kill them?" Now he has ideas because now he can think of um, I have to ensure that two ways that a pilot can die is if they run out of fuel or the radar, right? The radar is not clear, something like that. So he has to, improve the two directions. So he has to ensure that they have enough fuel reserve. Then he has to ensure that the radar is always clear and they have good navigation. So he solved the problem where he was stuck with ideas on how to make things better by trying to look for how to make things worse. It's a question. It's a very popular something on Twitter where someone said, if you want to make something better, and you are unable to just make it worse. Try think about how to make it worse. Somebody said, say if you say good morning, Jamal, right? If I say good morning, Jamal, someone if I ask myself, how can I make that greeting better? I feel like there's no way now. Good morning. Is there any other way to make good morning better? But how can I make it worse? I can make what I say, Jamal, are you mad? Right? So it means if I can say somebody, are you mad? Then I can praise them for their intelligence. I said, good morning, Jamal, you are smart. Look at that. Like, it just gave me an idea on how to just improve a greeting. So that kind of thing. Then another example of exercise, there are a lot of them. You can Google it, of course. Yeah, strategies, you can find your way. You can chat GPT your way into it. You can prompt. I'm a prompt advocate, prompt 1 million prompts. Questioning the question. If somebody says, oh, social media following, like, how can we grow our social media following? Ask the question like, what is our goal, right? How does social media following lead to business results? Like, don't answer the question of growing the social media following, right? Answer another question. which is the question of why social media in the first place. Like you are questioning the question that you are being asked. These are exercises that we would have gone into more detail, but because of time, I'm sure that you can do something with that. So these are exercises that you can just be, if your mind is always in this zone, when they bring a creative brief to you, you are going to interpret it in these zones. You are going to first question the creative brief. You want to hit market share, blah, 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 blah. Why do you even want to come to this market? Like your brain is asking this kind of question. You are inverting it. What if we fail? What would be the reasons for failure? What could be the possible reasons for failure? From there, you can see possible reasons for success. So, I'm fast in my talking, so apologies. I'm apologizing a lot, but hopefully you get something. So this is thank you for. I know that there are people from different parts of the country here. So you can see a Shane Nagode emailer, where say thank you. Sosongo, that's for the VBOs and Amanam, all of that. So thank you in different languages. You can pick the one that is your language. You can actually type it in the type the greeting, thank you in your language in the comment section. I would really like to see it. And I would also like you guys to take screenshots of this class and probably make a tweet and like of something you actually learned from this class or something you found funny, interesting, all of that. Then questions. But I don't know if Google will allow us. But if you have questions, quickly raise your hand so we can try to take it. All right. So questions. I think Tobi's hand is raised. Can you quickly ask your question? Hopefully I can answer in a minute.
Oh, sorry. I think it was before I
Oh.
contributed. Right. One suggestion. Yeah. When you mentioned your making of custard, right?
Yeah.
Once it's watery, just put on fire and boil it. It gets thicker.
Okay. Okay. Good. 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 That's a good one. That's a good tip. I think but I've actually started getting dried though without even needing to. But yeah. I'll use that for the days where everything casts. So like I said, please write thank you. I want to see it your own language, like different languages that people hear. P Samantha. Okay, good. I've seen Samantha. Other people, please write it and take a screenshot from this class before Google chases us away. And you should make a tweet on something you learned and all of that from this class. So thank you very much. Since there are no questions, you can always DM me, Sha, for your questions.
Yeah.
Jamal, yeah,
Thank you so
thank you.
much, Fortune. Thank you, guys. It was a wonderful session. Thank you so much. One last thing to take away is that think for strategies.